Hey everyone, today we're going to be doing a lot of fun with outpainting. Now, outpainting is definitely not new, but I've got a few unique takes and a few other tips that I think will help bring a little bit of innovation to how we've done outpainting before. One thing to note as we're going to go through this, we're going to be relying on a lot of the other skills that we've built on some of the other videos, so please feel free to check those out. And also, of course, as always, very much appreciated if you like and subscribe and also share with your friends that are also wanting to learn. Goal, of course, here is to make sure that we're doing everything we can to help educate the AI community so that we can build and create excellent content for the future. Okay, so that being said, I think we're going to jump right in here. Now, outpainting, of course, is the opposite of inpainting, where you're trying to expand your existing image outwards, right? It doesn't necessarily mean just to the left or to the right. It could be up, down, or all around. And we're going to show an example mostly around just expanding outwards left and right. But again, there's options to do everything. Additionally, there's a few things. We're going to be using our normal loader here, and I'm going to call out specific custom nodes as we're going along the way. But for this example, we're going to be definitely using the inpainting adapter, which is funny because it's outpainting that we're going to use it for, but it's the same sort of usage. The segmenter to be able to pull out masking quickly, and a few LORAs as well. And we're going to talk about LORAs here now in a second. So talking about LORAs, a lot of people have asked me, what are we using LORAs for? What is LORA? And the best way I could describe them is they're almost like little mini models that you're adding to your big model, right? The big kind of database of all the different images that you're pulling out. So these are adding additional sets of images or other styles to help influence your output that you're trying to pull out of your models, your prompting, right? And so tons of different LORAs exist, probably in the thousands at this point. And I find that they're kind of in a few different categories. One are what I'll call character type models, or LORAs, I should say. These are specifically trained on a particular person, actor, actress, character, but that it does exist right now on the Civ site. I actually like something called style LORAs, right? Again, they're all LORAs, but this is the other category, is stylistically, what can it help influence your output? And I find that the stylistic ones are very useful. They can help bring out skin or textures or other sorts of character features to help influence easily your imagery. And so a few of them that I have here listed. First of all, I'm using the latent consistency model LORA. Again, this is going to help speed up the render time, as I've done in other videos. So that's always a very powerful one. I am using the polyhedron skinny. This helps give some skin features and other kind of facial blemishes to help increase the photorealism. Detailed eyes to help bring out eye color. Face also around skin texture, skin realism. And then the final one, I found a lot of these, what we call sliders, style sliders recently, again, also on the Civ site, where you can basically influence the expressions of a character. I've seen happy, sad, shocked, crying. There's definitely a whole bunch of them out there. And you can see the strength of the model, the strength of the LORA is going to help to say how much it goes. Now, some models, or some LORAs, I should say, are kind of locked in at about 1 to 2, right? 100% to 200%. But a lot of these other ones, you can go up to 5, 10, 15, 20. And again, when you get to the 20 level, it's almost manic. That's some of the expressions you see. It's like way over extreme. So you have to find what level is going to be best for you and best for the content that you're trying to produce. Okay, that being said, I am going to produce our example here. And our example today is a spy. Now, the spy here, if I zoom in here, you can see where the LORAs really kind of play out. You've got some facial hair, some skin blemishes. The eyes are kind of popping, which is great. In terms of the hair messiness, right? Nothing is perfect, so it has a right kind of nice feel to it. And then the shocked expression gives the little bit of intrigue to the scene to say, well, what's going on with the rest of the scene here? Why is the spy in the tuxedo worried? And we'll see why in a bit. So this image is what we're going to be working with. And I have everything kind of bookmarked here. By the way, all the resources are linked as always in the video description, but you can see I have bookmarks set up as I've set up in the other videos. So we're going to go to several different examples here. So the first example is the simple one, right? We basically want to take our current scene and just expand it a little to the left, a little to the right. Don't have to touch anything else, don't want to do any additional prompts, right? Just use everything existing and just do it. So if I look here, this is number 2. I don't have it enabled yet. This is called Quick Basic Outpainting. All right, and so we're going to go over here and we're using our bypasser to do our quick outpaint. Okay, and so what's going on here before I run it? First of all, we're bringing into our preview bridge, right, our image that we're going to be kind of messing with. And you could see that there's a pad image for outpainting. This is a foundational element, right? So no custom nodes needed for that. For the preview bridge, though, you will want to download the impact pack. You probably already have it. It is probably one of the most valuable custom nodes out there. But for the pad image, it's basically how many pixels out do you want to push, right? It's by default 0, 0, 0, 0, but we're saying in this case, we want to go out 350 pixels each direction, left and right. And you can see the output of that are 2 black boxes, which is fine. And by the way, we'll be using that concept for the use of a mask. Because remember from our vignette video before, any areas that are black can be used as masking for additional content. So we have that going on. Additionally, we have linked our Clip Vision encode. This is a standard for inpainting, which again, we're using for outpainting. We are using our VAE encode for inpainting. And why do we use this instead of just the VAE encode? Well, in this case, this is the simple one. We don't want to touch the middle part at all. We just want to say, hey, the black areas here, just fill in with the same scene to make it more. Okay, great. And then the final item here is the apply IP adapter. FYI, you probably saw it. If you didn't know, you can just click on the little corner there to expand and contract. I have the weight at 0.4. You can play with it. I find that that's actually pretty good to find the right balance of weight. And that's pretty much it, right? You're connecting up your padded area to your inpaint. It's pulling in your positive and negative prompt from use everywhere beaming, right, that we're doing. And then the latent image, of course, is being done from your encode. Okay, and you can see it did a pretty good job here. One thing to note, and you'll see it here is a really good example. Sometimes for areas that are either solid colors or there's a little complexity, you'll see some banding that goes on. So you can't really see so much on the right-hand side here, but definitely near the door here, you see how there's a little bit of banding here. The colors don't quite match up to the rest of the scene, which may bring an eye there and you're like, hey, what's going on? So obviously you can very easily clean that up with inpainting. Inpainting will do that, right? You just mask that area and you can say, give me a new door, blurred or whatever, as we've done in previous videos. Or we have some other options as well. So, but I wanted to show you this really quick example because you'll see for, maybe 50% or more of your outpainting needs, this very quick and, dirty and simple example of being able to just expand out up, down, left, right, will save you tons of time. Our next example, which is the full outpainting plus Clipseg. Same sort of deal where we're bringing our image from the initial render area first. We're doing our normal padding, right? We're going out 300 pixels each way. The feathering, again, for those that are familiar with feathering, it's basically kind of like a light blurring of the boundaries. You can play with this number, and this will actually probably help a little bit with your the banding issue that we were talking about as well, right? So maybe a little more feathering would help to not make the the contrast as sharp in the transition from your painted area to your main image area. So it's just something to keep in mind as well. Again, most of this is just playing a little bit with the numbers to get it to where you want. But in terms of what we're actually doing here, so we're doing the VAE encode as we did before. We now have a prompt here, right? A positive, negative prompt. Now, why do we have this? Because we want to actually add additional details that we did not include in our original scene as we're expanding things out. Now you're saying, well, this is just black areas on the left and right. How is it going to do it? Well, we're actually not just doing the black areas on the left and right. We're actually going to replace the whole scene behind them. Why? Because this will help eliminate any of that potential banding we were talking about, but it also gives you the opportunity to really fulfill a larger scene or a larger sort of environment or perspective, right? So in this case, we're going to be adding some angry metal robots into our ballroom background. But you can see one piece that we are adding here is this Clipseg, right? So how are we selecting the whole background? We're basically going to select our foreground, man, and then we're going to reverse it with our invert mask. So we're saying select everything, being the regular background, the padded areas, everything, except for the man. And so by doing that, you're basically going to say replace the entire background with our 1950s ballroom. As you can see here, in our example, got our scary robots in the background. That's why he's so surprised. And also, funny enough, you have some people in tuxedos also with robot heads. So you can obviously fix that within painting, or maybe that's really the intention of what you're trying to get to. But this is our final scene. Again, you can play a lot with that denoise factor to play with your background. But this is really great because you can actually also use your negative prompting to eliminate some of the things you do not want in the background. So if you don't want a robot with a tux, you could put that in your negative prompting and regenerate it, and that should help as well. Okay, so that is our second example. And our final example, which one of my favorites is our sketch to render feature. We're going to basically say, I want to draw in the areas that I have my background, but at the same time, use a lot of the existing areas. So you're like, well, how do I do that? How do I draw on my canvas, but also only include the areas that I want to render? Well, you can actually mask within the canvas. And we're going to show you how to do that right now. So first things first, I have the Send to Editor tab here, right? As always, we want to go into our editor. It's going to come up with the default items. So we're going to kind of dismiss those, and we're going to get the right. I like to do this add layer first to match up the resolution, right? Because as you can see, our resolution is going to be much wider from the out pad. So that we want to, if you could see, I'm going to show you, right? We're pulling from the Outpainting area, the padded area. And so that's going to bring that new resolution image in. And I'm going to cancel that so it doesn't go too far. And at the same time, I am going to now disable that send to. But if you go back to my canvas, you can see the whole image came in, which is what I wanted. It's wide, which we want, but you can see there you have the black areas. And now we have to figure out, well, what do we want the rest of our scene to look like? And so, first of all, I like to play with additional layers here. So we're going to first create a new layer. And then what I like to do very, very quickly is just kind of use that eyedropper, hit the brush, and then start to draw what I want the rest of the scene to look like. Okay, we're going to add our quick robot here. Okay, so good enough, right? So we have basically our full image, we want to, of course, select the area just to make sure that is fully selected. When we come back to our tab, you can see all of our sketches have been added here. I've added, the prompt to have our Chrome robot here, etc., etc. All is good. The one thing to take into mind that you always want to make sure that you're hooking up is you're going from your canvas, right? You're taking your image to the VAE encode for in painting, and then we're going to obviously take the latent and put that into the sampler. Now the other pieces, so you have to say, well, the mask, where's the mask coming from? So the mask is coming from our canvas, and this is the one piece that is a little bit new. So if you click on your mask layer up here, you can see that's this kind of purple color, which is fine. You have to now say, well, what do you want to be masked? And so all the new stuff that we have drawn, so I'm going to use my little duplicate tool here, so we have both left and right side. All this is what we want to include. Now, I'm not being very precise here, and that is by design. Why? Because when I render this image, you are going to see that if I have it perfectly lined up to the line, then what happens, you'll see that banding again. But if we kind of make this imprecise and include even part of our image, and maybe we'll do a little bit of this area right here. Okay, so by doing so, it's going to naturally kind of include some of the original image as well. And as it starts to re-blend things out, you'll see it is a very exciting scene, and it should be pretty appealing to the eye. Okay, there we go. And so you can see there's some little intricacies here that we will want to clean up, probably with maybe a little bit of in painting. A little bit there, a little bit by the light. Maybe I was a little too aggressive on my masking, but you could see it actually didn't touch the major area of the center. It just included the rest of the image outside of it. So hopefully this was helpful. As always, right, we're trying to find new and exciting ways to bring imagery forward and eventually video as well. So hope this was great, and we'll talk to you soon.